What's up, Shelf Addicts? Welcome back to the Shelf Addiction Podcast. Today on Book Chat, we are continuing our reread of the Mercy Thompson series. This episode, we are covering Book 13, Soul Taken. Stay tuned. Hey everyone, I am your host, Tamara, and welcome back to the podcast. If you're new here, we're going to feed your shelf addiction with fun book conversations, bookish topics, and more. It's like listening in on your favorite book club. Participate in this discussion by joining the Facebook group Shelf Addiction Official or over on the Book Clubs app. I hope to hear your thoughts on today's show. You can also find me and Casey on Twitter and Instagram. The links for everything I've mentioned are below in the show notes. If you enjoyed today's episode, please support the podcast by sharing it with some book nerd friends or on your favorite social media space. And don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe before you leave. That will really help me out, and I appreciate you for doing it. The uncut video version of this podcast is available right now over on Patreon. Join us there for exclusive videos, including after shows and more. So if you're interested in that at all, you'll need to come over onto Patreon and sign up. As always with Book Chats, we talk spoilers here, so you've been warned. Without further ado, let's begin. Joining me is feature co-host Casey from Heart Full of Ink. Welcome back, Casey.
Hello. I'm so excited to be here.
Yay, because we are doing our final installment of the Mercy Thompson reread of this year. This is the last book that's published as of today.
Yes.
Right now.
Yes.
So
book 14 is supposed to come out next year, but we're not going to reread all 13 books for that.
No, we are not. We are not going to do this again. So this is the last one. I'm excited. So we're just going to do what we do. We're going to do the stats, the synopsis, and we'll just jump right on in. Today we are reviewing Soul Taken, book 13, written by Patricia Briggs, 13th in series, as we just said. It was published August 23rd, 2022 by Ace and Penguin Audio. The hardcover is 388 pages. The audiobook is 10 hours and 33 minutes. Narrated by Lorelei King. Casey, would you please read the synopsis?
Yes. Mercy Thompson, car mechanic shapeshifter, must face her greatest fears in this chilling entry in the #1 New York Times best-selling series. The vampire wolf is missing. Since he's deadly, possibly insane, and his current idea of fun is stalking me, some may see it as no great loss. But having been warned that his disappearance might bring down the carefully constructed alliances that keep our pack safe, my mate and I must find Wolf and hope he's still alive. As alive as any vampire can be, anyway. But Wolf isn't the only one who has disappeared, and now there are bodies too. Has the harvester returned to the Tri-Cities, reaping souls with his cursed sickle? Or is he just a character from a B horror movie and our enemy is someone else? The farther I follow Wolf's trail, the more twisted and darker the path becomes. I need to figure out what's going on before the next body on the ground is mine.
All right. So, what'd you think? Book 13.
I enjoyed it. I know we just read this back in August, but after rereading all the books leading up to this, I think it's a much stronger book than I initially thought.
Same.
Also, I probably should have listened to our episode again before recording this episode. I just did not have time.
Yeah, I did not listen to the episode, so it's very possible some of my critiques could be exactly what I said last time. That's totally possible.
Oh, yeah. No, I thought about this like 10 minutes ago. I was like, oh, yeah, I should have listened to our episode, but I did not have time. So apologies to anybody who listens to these back to back.
I know, right?
It's been 3 months for us.
Hear this conversation? But don't worry, if you're listening to a playlist somewhere, you won't see the other one, just this one. So there's that.
Yes.
So
yes.
I definitely enjoyed it more the second time around, just because, like we had said before, I think in a previous episode, I lose track now, it's all blurred together. When we had read this book several months ago. We were only like 3 or 4 books
I think
into
we
the
were 4
series.
books in. Because
Okay.
I remember we had this conversation where we were like, no, she got the bite from Stefan, but they broke it. So how is it still here? We don't know what this is. And now we're like, okay, yeah, no, this has
Yeah.
been fully established for a long time.
I know. We were like having brain farts all over the place. We could not remember stuff.
Well, it was really difficult jumping from book 4 to book 13.
Yeah.
And so I would not recommend that to anybody.
I do not recommend. But ironically, I do feel like if you hadn't read anything by Briggs and you said, oh, this cover art looks nice, let me pick it up and see what it is. Because, nowhere on this book does it say it's 13th in series.
It
So
does
if you're
not.
one poor soul who just picked this book up saying, what is this? I still think there's enjoyment to be gotten out of it without the history. Like, it's a full enough story.
I think so. I think it would be a little confusing. Like, you would absolutely know that you've missed out on a lot because there are a lot of ties back to things. Like, they mention Frost, but Mercy's like, oh yeah, no, we killed Frost and that's, dead and done. But there were references to him. And so I think, yes, you could do this and enjoy it, but you would know, like, oh, I've missed a lot.
Yeah, you'd know. You probably question, is this in a series? You'd question.
Absolutely, yes.
But I don't think it's like so obvious. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's just me taking for granted that I read all these books recently. I don't know, because I did enjoy it last time when I couldn't remember half of anything.
Oh yeah, no, like it's an enjoyable book, but I definitely enjoyed it more after just rereading everything and like remembering the witches, remembering Frost, remembering everything that went down in Europe. Like last time, I absolutely forgot the co-pilot who taught Adam how to break the vampire holds. And
so this dude,
he did that.
This dude is getting payback in this book from, I just had to look on my shelf. 1, 2, 3 books ago.
Silence Fallen. Yeah, book 10.
Yeah. So he's getting payback now from way back then.
And it's only been
all
a few months.
You mentioned.
Because she was kidnapped spring, summer. I need to look up the timeline. But this is October. Like it's only been a few months because these books happen so fast and everything happens all at once.
Yes. I don't know. I don't even know what time it is. And I'm not going to look.
No,
either.
don't
I
look.
was going to, and I said, no, don't do it. You're not doing that. We don't know. But a couple months has passed, and we just, from the last book, it was pretty immediate. No time has passed, really, between the last book and this book.
It's been like maybe a month.
If that. I don't know. Because I know Adam, like, he's still having his beast. I forgot his beast even came out in this book, his monster.
I know. And as I read that, I was like, oh shit, we were just talking about this last week.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, so that literally, I mean, he's living with it. He is going to live with this monster, sound like forever.
I'm not sure if it's going to be forever. Like we said with Smoke Bitten, I think he has turned a corner and it's getting a little easier. But we were in his point of view for one chapter today and we got a little more depth about it, which I thought was really good. So before we were kind of shitting all over Adam because we're like, oh, you just don't think you're worthy. Like you're just, you need some growth. But
what chapter was that? Do you remember?
It was 8 or 9. Like it's in the middle of the book.
Early.
But he talked about how he created this monster while he was in Vietnam and having to do unspeakable things. And I think that's a very valid reason to have a monster inside of you because you're killing women and children and innocent people. And it's, war is fucked up and will fuck you up. And if you were a good old Southern boy who went to church every Sunday and didn't want to do anything too terrible and had to do that, like his monster makes a lot more sense now.
Yeah.
But I think
it does. And I mean, I never really faulted him for having it. You know what I mean? I just thought that the way that he handled the situation with Mercy was shitty.
Yes.
And I still think that. I still blame him. Like, he could have, I don't know, even after she called him out for stuff being wrong, he still was like not keeping secrets and not really saying. And I'm like, you knew the whole time what was going on. Really, he did. And he didn't say anything. So he still has points down.
He
in my
does.
book.
Yes.
I don't know. I guess he was the hero a little bit in this book.
He tried. He
was the
good.
hero. But of course, Mercy, God, Mercy saves him and everybody again.
Actually, I think it was more Sherwood saving him than Mercy. Like, Mercy had the physical touch in the moment, but it was Sherwood's magic who really helped Adam, like, break the ties with the harvester.
But not if he didn't know how. Mercy told him everything that she knew. She kind of like downloaded a bunch of information so he would know how to do it himself. Without that, he wouldn't have known what to do.
Would not. But yeah,
but Sherwood
was everything. Yes.
Yeah, he definitely has a really active role in this group now, and I can see him, you know, like he said, like the character said, "Oh, we're good. I'm not going to fight for this. I know how to deal with this, but that's not to say I'm not going to have a couple tussles with Warren and help me. What's the other?
Zach?
Number two.
Daryl.
No,
sorry,
number
they
two.
live with
Daryl because of his dominance. He can't really like not show it when he doesn't want to. He's like, I kind of forgot how to do that. So we might have a couple of tussles, but it'll be fine. Like, no one will really know what's happening because everyone kind of assumes he's like fourth in the pack anyway. So he's just got to practice tamping that down a little bit, not to drive those two berserk. But other than that, he's in like Flynn. He's going to be there. He's taking care of business and he's protecting them.
Because, as we learned in this book, he's Bran's older brother.
Right. Which they knew he was a Cornick in last book. They just didn't know how he was a Cornick, right? They didn't know.
They figured it out in this book.
They said no, I thought it was at the end of last book where they said, no, they said he, let me mark it.
Okay.
They said he was a Cornick.
Because I thought it was at the beginning of this book when they figured it out. Because she was looking at him at Uncle Mike's.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe it was.
Page 52.
Stuff's blending together.
Opened.
Okay. Sherwood
was giving Zach a fond but exasperated look. It was a look I'd seen directed at me, but not by Sherwood. You're a Cornick, I said in shock. Yeah. I'd recognize that exasperated expression anywhere. Samuel uses it anytime I beat him at chess. Yeah.
Yeah. Which should have gave it away, but she didn't know still how exactly they were related. But they knew it was close. Like, they knew it was close relatives. So, very interesting. He's got a lot. And there's a lot of stuff he hasn't uncovered yet or shown to us yet. I think he has a bunch of power that we don't know.
If he's Bran's older brother, one, that means he's Witchborn. So his mother's super powerful. Two, they said that he was the boogeyman long before Charles was born. So
he was the enforcer before.
Yeah, no, he's a big
dangerous. Dangerous. He's scary and dangerous, but he's so cute with his little kitten best friend.
His little one-eyed kitten on his shoulder. Yes.
Yeah, he's like this two opposites, you know. He seems so nice and kind, and then like, don't turn your back because he will murder you. You know, he could. So I don't know. I like the dichotomies of these characters. A lot of them are like that. Even like Wolf, right? He is the perfect example of this dichotomy of like two different types of personalities, extreme different ends of the spectrum. Like, you know, when you could tell he didn't want to kill Mercy. You know, we know he was taken over by the weapon, what do you call it? The soul taker, whatever. He was taken over, but he was fighting it. And he knew that Mercy would get him out of it. And when she did, he thanks her and leaves promptly.
Because he's smart.
But then later, He's smart. He's smart. But then later, he comes, he's playing his little violin and Stefan's there. And he's like, be
Mhm.
scared. Be very scared. And she's like, oh, he's talking about
Mhm.
Wolf. So, yes, he's kind if he wants to be. He's very powerful, very
Yep.
old. But he's also very lethal and you cannot trust him. So very opposite, It's like a lot of the characters are
Mhm.
this way, I think, in these
Mhm.
books.
And it's a fun dichotomy. It's
Yeah.
Z, it's Stefan, it's Wolf, it's Adam, it's Sherwood, it's Bran, even though we don't see him a lot here anymore. Like, he's still really powerful. He's still, in the background.
Yeah. Because even Z, she had a brief moment of
Fear?
not being sure
Mhm.
about Z, and Adam had to bring her back. Like, dude, she had this, for a brief time, she had this ability where she could like look into someone's eyes and kind of like see everything
Mhm.
about them. And she saw some things with Mary Jo and she saw some things
I
with
think it was
someone
funny,
else.
but
And he's like, well, did you see anything that changed your opinion of them? He's like, no. And he's like,
Mhm.
Z, you already have enough
Mhm.
information. You know if you can trust him or
But the
not.
thing is, can she though? 'Cause he's been here 40 years. She's only known him 10 years. He's been
Mm-hmm.
alive for over 1,000 years and has done some very terrible things. They scared Pad's new
I
girlfriend, and Tilly
Yeah.
brought the cup made out of a skull with jewels that, Z made from a child's head. Like, he is a
I think
scary
that
dude.
she knows how far she can trust him. For
Mhm.
example, when at the end when she gave him, the soul taker
Mhm.
or whatever
The
it's
sickle.
called, she made a deal. She said, I'll trade, let's do a
Mhm.
trade, right? A
Mm.
bargain. So I think she knows what parameters she can trust in him. She wouldn't just
Of
hand it
course
to
not,
him.
but I don't think she fully understands. I'm feeling a little more scared of Z. Like, I know he's a friend and an ally, but,
So you think he's going to turn bad?
I don't know if he's gonna turn bad, but I don't know if I fully trust him. I think he plays a long game. And again, I think somebody else mentioned, I think it was Larry, who talked about how, nobody wanted Z to get this. They were totally fine faking him
Mm-hmm.
out 40 years ago. They're a little nervous and worried about him. Anytime Mercy says, "Oh yeah, I'm friends with him," people get scared. And
Yeah.
and they
And they
should,
should. But
but they're
they're
not
not Mercy.
Mercy.
I feel like, I don't know, for some reason, something about her, he has grown to think about her as another one of his kids, right?
Probably. Okay.
And if he does go against her, it would shock me. And I
Mhm.
would just have to be like, oh my God, you have done everything to fool me, because I would never think he would go against her on purpose. Not to say that there may be a situation where there may be some miscommunication, but I don't think that he would ever harm a hair on her head. I
I
don't
don't
think he
think he would,
would.
like.
That's not to say he won't harm that neighbor
Yeah.
down the street
Oh, yeah.
or this customer that walked in the door. But her and hers, I don't think he would harm.
No, I don't think he would harm Mercy per se, but I feel like, he's kind of been slowly collecting all of his old weapons. He's been collecting some other weapons, and this one did get destroyed, thankfully. But, like, he's starting to kind of amass some power. And there have been a few hints about issues with the Fae and Tilly. They're locked out of their
Mhm.
place. She is scared of Z herself. She doesn't like him.
Mhm.
I think there's going to be a big freaking Fae battle at some point. And I don't know if Z's going to be on like the right side or a good side or just his own side. And no, I don't think Mercy's going to get targeted per se, but with Tilly in her backyard, I think something's going to happen. I don't know. This is all just fan theory based on random lines.
That wouldn't surprise me, honestly. We know very well that he is about protecting himself and Tad. As long as no one tries to kidnap his son again, because we know they were still finding body parts from the last time. So he is in no way meek. He is in no way fearful, or he has no restraint when it comes to killing people.
Absolutely
we know
not.
this.
He is a powerhouse.
So that would not surprise me at all. But I don't think I would think that he would be on the wrong side of it. Just something about this character, unless Briggs just does me totally dirty and changes his character completely. I just feel like he's, how some superheroes are kind of like the anti-hero. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to do what you think you need to do to get what needs to be done. And yes, you might kill some people, you might damage some things, but it's ultimately for the right reason. I feel like he falls in that pocket. At least that's how my point of view on him. I hope his personality doesn't change. But I totally anticipate him killing more people.
Oh, absolutely.
Totally.
Like, definitely guaranteed he's going to kill some people. I'm just kind of like, what is this Fae thing going to be? What is going to go down? How is it going to go down? What's coming?
I know. Something is coming.
Something is coming.
We're not done. And not only with him, but Wolf, we've been clearly led down a path with Stefan warning her. Wolf is not done with her. He is not finished.
Which is terrifying in and of itself. Like, the fact that he, last book was like, oh, I'm stalking you. It's fun. I'm stalking you. Like, I'm just going to show up. And, the beginning of this book, he's like, I'm going to sleep in your bed or roll around in your bed and just make sure you can smell me. Ugh.
Ew.
Yeah. Ew.
Ew. Maybe he wants her, to be with her. Maybe he tries to take out Adam or something. I don't think so.
It doesn't feel like when Mercy looked into him and saw him, saw his soul or parts of his soul or whatever. He wants to be his old self again. And when she, put that be at peace spell on all the zombies and he was touching her, he felt like his old self before he'd been tortured for centuries. Like, I think it's more of that he wants that peace, that he wants that, going back in time to being himself before he became this crazy tortured thing. So it doesn't feel sexual to me, but it's that, like, you can do this great thing for me.
He's still
and I want to steal you to do that for me.
But he's still that. He's still free.
Is he, though? He's like kind of tortured still. I don't know.
I feel like he is free of whatever. That didn't go away. It wasn't temporary. Yeah, he got consumed by the soul taker thing. But I feel like once he was free of that, he's back to normal again. Like, and she saved him again.
The normal, like, that we've known from the past few years, or is it the normal from like 5 centuries ago that he wants?
I don't know. I mean, we don't know that because he barely had any words after that.
We don't know.
He came to show appreciation with some music and a couple of words. So we don't really know what his state of mind is.
And that's both terrifying and fun because we're going to find out eventually.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, obviously, Stefan thinks it's bad. He thinks he's in whatever it is he thinks is bad.
Well, Stefan is very protective of Mercy and kind of thinks everything is bad. So, I mean, he's not wrong. Wolf is terrifying. And, we were complaining last time that Mercy wasn't scared enough.
I still think that. I still think that's probably why she got the warning. She's not scared enough.
Absolutely,
of him.
Yes.
I don't know. It's hard. Like, to be really like tentative allies with people. The allyship is not that strong. Like, I feel like I mentioned with Z and Tad, like that relationship
Yeah.
is locked in.
Oh,
I
yeah.
feel like it's locked in. I feel like it's locked in with Stefan. But all these other, with the
I was
Goblin
just about
King
to
Larry,
ask.
that's tentative. It
I
could
don't know. I
change.
think Larry really wants this. I think he really wants to be friends and like he wants to be good allies. And you have to start somewhere. And he's absolutely like, yeah, let's do this. Let me tell you what I know. Let's be friends. Let's do this. Let's do that. Let me jump in through a window in a loincloth and save you because that's what friends do. So I trust
Yeah.
Larry. Yeah.
I mean, I want
I
that
trust
for them.
Larry a hell of a
But like
lot
even
more than I trust
Marsilia,
Marsilia.
I don't know. I guess she warned them. She had a weird, creepy way of doing it. I don't know if she had some like there was something going on. Like obviously she escaped while they were being tortured or whatever.
Honestly, I was
But
kind of wondering if Bonatero like made her do that
I don't
because
know.
I don't see how she could escape him only to get recaptured by him and continuously tortured. And the way she
I
said
know.
everything was
But
like
okay, so
so
let's
specific. It was almost like,
yeah.
Adam said it sounded like a ransom video.
Well, it could be, but I feel like she had some quirks to let them know they were being warned. Even Adam said, well, she told us this was
Mhm.
going to happen. And like they even made a point to talk about her entrance, like these robes and the
And the
smoke. And they're like,
scent.
what's going
Yeah.
on here? Like, so maybe it was kind of, I'm telling you something, but I'm telling you something,
Oh, it was definitely
like,
that. It was 8 different
yeah.
layers.
Like, don't just take what yeah, like don't just take what I'm saying at face value out my mouth, but I'm telling you something
Mhm.
without telling you. I feel like that's what
Yeah,
she
and
was
that kinda
doing.
makes me what
So
thinks it
while
was
she is
Bonatero who's like, "Oh, yeah, no, you need to give them this warning, but don't say anything about this."
mhm, mhm, yeah, so I do feel like, they even said, "Oh, our relationship with the vampires is stronger than ever right now." I think the only thing that's keeping Marsilia in check is Stefan. Like her
Mhm,
relationship with Stefan is so strong. Even if she wanted to go against whatever
mhm.
ally, relationship they had, she won't do it because of
Yes.
Stefan. So he is what's going to keep her in check. And as long as he doesn't die, she going to stay in line.
Yep.
But will Stefan ever die?
I don't know.
Will the author ever kill him? I don't know. Everyone, okay, so we are 13
Mhm.
books in and we've had a couple losses,
Not a
but
big one.
not any we've had B
Yeah.
team losses,
Or
right?
even C team, like
It's time for
Paul.
some murders. It's time for some murders. Like we need a big component of Mercy's world to drop out from up under her. I
Mhm.
think that would make like the biggest change in the plot and like make things so amped up
Oh, yes.
because she's really like even though they go through things, she is really
Lucky. Mhm.
secure, lucky and secure in
Yes.
her team, like all the people
Yes.
around her.
And there have been some very close calls for her as well. Like she has almost died multiple
Yeah,
times and come back from death
I
and
know.
like we're lucky she's still alive. But yeah, out of
That makes me wonder though. Like, what do you think? How long can we go without a major player dying? And it starts to feel okay. Yeah, we know she'll live. We know Adam will make it through. We know
Mhm.
that nothing. You know what I'm saying? How long before that gets
I
old?
mean, you're right. It needs to happen at some point. I don't want to say that it will or anything like that, but like everybody keeps getting tortured and they keep escaping their torture. So,
Hmm.
but Mercy is the daughter of a chaotic god who is in control of death. So, even if somebody
Yep.
does die, like, would she bring them
Do they
back?
ever die? You know what? I think that would make me
Mhm.
angry because I think about like TV shows and even other books, when no one stays dead, no one is really dead. When that happens, there is no, what is the word I'm looking for? You have no buy-in
To believe that
be emotionally, attached to these characters because, no one ever really dies.
It's like Supernatural. Like even Sam and Dean die 500 million times throughout the entire show, but they always pop back to life. Like it's every time they kill somebody off, they bring them back. And yeah.
It loses its weight after the first or second time you bring them back. Like Vampire Diaries, like no one ever freaking dies. Like, yeah, they just got stabbed, but they're alive. Yay. Oh, you got it's just, it's a mess. So I hope that Briggs is able to not only, keep going with this series in a way that's exciting, but also in a way that is fresh. After 13 books, like, I feel like we need a shakeup. I feel like I'm itching for a shakeup. And like, I think about, like, for example, J.R. Ward. She made a major plot twist to shake up that world. It's not the same old, same old. She did something big to shake things up. That's what Briggs needs.
We need some big shakeups.
I mean, I feel like good about them, right? I've had some issues after we found out some stuff about Adam. But like, as I was finishing this conclusion today, I was really just like, okay, cool. But what's next? Like, what now? I just don't want to. I don't want to become bored.
We need some big things to come, and I think there are a few big things coming, like this Fae War. I think that's still in the works. They need to kill off Bonatero. Like, he is pissed.
Just kill him.
There's going to be a big vampire fight, and that's something they can't do without Bran and the other werewolves.
I think now's a good time to take a break, so we're going to do that. Listen to these commercials. You guys check out the book review journal, available right now on Amazon. And when we come back, we'll finish our conversation of Soul Taken. Stay with us. Today's episode is brought to you by the Shelf Addiction merch store. Check out all the bookish t-shirts, notebooks, mugs, and more. Don't miss out on these original designs, perfect for any book nerd. Support the podcast and visit shelfaddiction.com/merch and pick up your next favorite bookish item. All right, welcome back, guys. We're going to continue the conversation.
I'm trying to think of what else. Like, there's so many threads. And I could see this going on for a while because there's so many things that still need to get tied up. The witches. Oh my God, the witches are still a threat, technically. Yeah.
I know. Every threat, she's just hitting them out the park. Bam, bam, bam. Throw one, I'll hit it.
So, what character death would devastate you?
I think I feel really bad if Warren died.
Me too.
Or if Ben died, I would feel really bad. I think the biggest gut punch would be Adam, but I don't think that Briggs would do that to Mercy.
I don't think she would either. I don't think she can do that, like, for herself or for anybody. But yeah, I think the most emotionally devastating death would be Warren, with Stefan being number 2. Ben would be really upsetting, but I don't think it would be as devastating.
Yeah. I don't really care about Stefan. I'm like, bye.
I know. It's
like, he's fine.
He's fine.
Yeah. But I'm like, if you died tomorrow, dude, I'd be like, damn, let's throw him some flowers over his grave. But I wouldn't be like, oh no.
I think Mercy would be. She would be devastated. But yeah,
I think Mercy feels conflicted about him. Like, I know that she considers him a very close friend, and I think she would be hurt by that. But she also has expressed clearly issues with the type of relationship they have with each other because of that bond. So I think release of that bond would give her some relief, honestly.
Yes.
So I think she would have a lot of conflicted feelings about it. Yeah. I
Well,
don't know.
Adam has a backup plan to kill him someday, so
Yeah. And I think she already knows, like, if it comes down to it, and I don't even think she trusts Stefan 100%. I
Mm-mm.
feel like there's a sliver of something,
Mhm.
right? Because she knows he could control her at any minute
Yep.
if he really wanted to.
Yep.
So having that bond, I think, is the one thing that is keeping her in check from feeling anything about him
Mhm.
that's, you know what I'm saying, that it should not be.
Yes. And I don't think it ever was or would be.
No.
I know I said this
Yeah.
in one of the early episodes, but, like, if Adam didn't exist, if it was literally just Mercy in this town by herself, I think she would
Mhm.
have had, like, a great relationship with Stefan, just the two of them riding around in the mystery machine van, solving cases, just the two of them. But Adam does exist, so that can never happen.
No. Mm-mm. Unless for some reason Adam dies, then maybe that could
No,
happen, but
I
I
don't.
think it would just not be right.
Mercy would either drag Adam back to life or she would follow him. I don't think.
Which she already said she would
Yes.
do. She already threatened
Yes.
him.
And she would call her father to
Yeah,
be like, "Hey, Coyote, like, either bring him back
fix
or let
this.
me go with him."
Mhm. I do. Yeah, I feel like that too. But see, that's why it's okay for Stefan to die because you know
Mhm.
what? Honestly, she already knows her husband, if it comes down to it, would kill him.
Mhm.
And she's not going to be mad about it. I mean, she might be disappointed, right?
Mhm.
She might be like, dang, that's effed up that had to happen. I didn't want that to happen. But she's not going to be angry at Adam for years because of it.
Not for years. She might be like for a
Mm-mm.
little bit, but no, I think she's right. Or you're right. It's
Yeah, it's just not the same.
just not the same.
Well, and that's kind of like what I liked about rereading these books is like I feel like we have a deeper feeling about these stories and about
Mhm.
these characters because it's easy to just talk about the world as a whole and how this current book has affected the world as a whole and not just specifically what happened in this one book. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
It's the overall thing. It's like once you get so far in, it stops being about this one book, I feel like.
Oh, absolutely. It's the whole world. It's every piece of information we've read from this book and the Alpha and Omega series and all of the short stories. And yes, somebody could pick this up and understand it, but we get that one line reminder and be like, "Oh yeah, I remember this whole story. I know what this means. I remember going through this adventure with Mercy."
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, all of those times, like, it's happened a couple times, like, "Oh,
Mhm.
thanks for that reminder, I've forgotten that." Oh, you know what, on a side note,
Mhm.
we learned something new about Z in this book. You remember what
That
it
he can
is?
heal people?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm like, "Oh,
That is some powerful magic.
he can kill and heal."
Mhm. He has life and death in his hands and a
Yeah,
lot of metal
literally.
smithing too.
Yeah, because Mary Jo was like, "I didn't know he could do that." Mercy was like, "Me either."
It's good to have him on your side.
It is. He's like he's the first pick. He's my first pick. If we're choosing teams, he's my first pick.
Mhm.
Definitely.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Who's your first pick? Would it be Z?
Actually, I would pick Tad because
Mhm.
I know Z would follow and protect Tad, so I'd have double.
Mm. Mhm.
I'd have the double protection, but I'd also have Tad there to, like, have fun
Mm.
with. But
Mm.
knowing that, like, it's the 2 for 1. I pick Tad, I get Z at the same time.
Mhm. Well, wouldn't it go the opposite way too? Tad wouldn't leave his daddy.
He wouldn't leave his daddy, no. And
No.
he hasn't, like, we've seen him follow his dad, but it's
Mhm.
the more protection of, like, Z's like, "No, Tad is here, I'm going to do this." It's Z
Mhm.
following him to the movie theater to be like, "I'm super protective over you."
Wow. Which was crazy.
So crazy. I wanna say, I know I said this last time, but I still absolutely ship, Tad and Jesse. I think they
Me
make the
too.
better couple.
Yeah.
rereading it and seeing them bicker and fight, and he's like, I have to protect you, and she's like, go fuck yourself. I'm just like, yes, I need this.
Was that conversation in this book where she's like, someone has to make a sacrifice, and he's like, wait, am I the sacrifice for protecting you, or am I? He's trying to figure out. And she's like, shut up.
Yes,
in the car. Like, oh my gosh, they are hilarious.
They're so funny. And no, they're not ready for each other yet. And she's absolutely like, you need to make up with my friend Izzy. Like, you need to fix your relationship. You need to go do your own thing. And I'm like, oh my God. The two of them need to get together, and it's going to be amazing.
But she needs some experiences.
She does.
That's the thing about when you get with, like, if you're a human and you get with paranormal creatures, I feel like it's not fair if you don't have world experiences, because it seems like when they fall in with this lot, it's like a forever thing.
Yes, but also Tad is, just a couple years older than her. He's half human. He was born in 1980 something. So like, in that sense, they're on equal footing. It's not like he's a 200-year-old fae who she's falling for. He is a young 20-something-year-old half-human boy. He just also happens to have all of this super
He feels old to me, though. Does he feel old to you? Like, his personality, except for those points, for example, like we just said, they had that little tiff as they're walking to the car. Like, I feel like sometimes his youth shines through, sometimes. But in general, he just feels old to me.
He's been through some things. And I want to know more about like what happened back on the East Coast, because something went down. He was tortured with his dad, and, he has been through some life experiences. Jesse's also been kidnapped and tortured a little bit. She's gone through some shit. She's more mature and evolved than her friend Izzy. Izzy is not ready for Tad at all. Poor Izzy. Like, she's not.
Oh my gosh.
She's not prepared for any of this.
No. Which is why they won't last.
Yeah, no. But you're right. I think Jessie does need a couple more years.
Yeah. Whatever it is, she needs a lot of it. She needs experiences. She needs boyfriends. She needs friends.
Gabrielle, what's his name? Gabe?
Yeah, but that was kitty love. That don't count. She needs adult love.
She's had her heart broken. She's been through some stuff. Like, she's not. I keep comparing her to Izzy. I feel like Izzy's, the human in the room, and Jessie needs some time, but yeah.
You think a high school heartbreak is the same as an adult heartbreak?
Oh, absolutely not. But when you're 16, 17, that's all you know. You're just like, my life is over. I know all the pain of the world. It's just so raw, almost. It's different, but I don't know.
Yeah. Like, that's, I think, part of the reason why I think Mercy and Adam are so great together, because she had a whole world before him. You know what I'm saying? Like,
she was 30 before they started dating.
Exactly.
Like, she was a fully grown adult.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, because I really hate when it feels like there's an imbalance in that arena. So I want the woman to be just as strong as the man and have just as many experiences as he does.
Yes.
Because I hate that whole trope of like virginal, woman with experienced man. I hate that shit, like with a passion. So that's why I'm like, I want Jessie to like grow up, like be fully grown in her woman, and then get with him, because he's still got some learning to do too. He's not
absolutely,
so they'll be waiting for each other when the time is right.
Yes,
I don't know. That's just my 2 cents about it. I guess I'm just not woo woo and mushy about that.
I just love their bickering, and the fact that like she's not fawning over him and he's not putting up with her shit, and like they're butting heads. And I love relationships like that, where it's like, okay, we're not quite on equal footing, but one person isn't fawning all over the other person. One person isn't, letting the other one manipulate them into anything. Like, they screamed in front of her car because he was like, I need to protect you. And she's like, fuck no. To the point where Mercy and Adam were like staring out the window going, do we need to interfere? No,
stay out of it.
Jessie held her own.
Yeah, she did. Like, oh my God, that's because they're friends. I feel like, you know how you have this comfort level with friends, and if it ever switches to another tone, it like there's a stumble. Like, you know, the tone has changed. We got to figure out a new dynamic. So I don't know. I'm curious to see if it will be an easy, smooth flip for them when it happens, or if it's going to be like, oh my God, we have to start over because I don't know you like that.
I just hope that Gabriel doesn't come back and there's this awkward, awful triangle. Like, that would be awful.
We never found out what was in that letter.
Mm-mm. It was probably something like, I'll always love you. You were perfect for me, but, you know, I understand life. And because he had a girlfriend 2 weeks later.
He did. That's him off sowing his wild oats and getting experience. He might come back.
He is fully human, and Jessie is human right now. Like, well,
yeah.
I don't know. I think she's better with Tad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she can't be human with him. Not really.
Not really.
She has to be something else.
I mean, she could for a few years, but, you know, he's going to stop aging at some point, and I mean, he can use glamour to look old, but
I think you're onto something there.
Ooh, okay. We'll find out in the next few years as she writes one book a year.
Oh my gosh. Oh, it's going to be going on for another 15 years. Watch.
And I'll be here for it, like, unless it takes a really nasty turn.
I know. Okay, so that's a question. What would it take for you to say, I'm done with this series? What would have to happen for you to be like, I'm tapping out?
I almost hate to say this, but if Adam died and Mercy like had to go to Bran and everybody started being like, oh, make them a couple, I would just, no, fuck that. There's some fan theories about that, and I hate those fan theories, and I'm just like, no, I reject it. I reject that entirely.
No,
it does not work. I do not like that.
I could not. Yeah, that would make me quit. If Mercy and Bran were together, that would make me quit.
Yeah. No, that's so ick. I cannot. Maybe if Warren died, but like, I'd be so devastated. And I know Mercy would be devastated, and like, it would just be god awful.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't think that wouldn't make me quit. I think if Mercy got with Stefan, I would be utterly disgusted.
I don't think she ever could, like, unless he's brainwashing her into it.
Like if Adam dies,
God,
same scenario.
No.
But instead of going to Bran, she gets with Stefan after a while.
No, I
would not like that either. Not at all.
I don't think she would like it either, because he can control her, and she doesn't want to be with somebody who can control her.
Yeah, you can't be with someone that can control you. I don't know them. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Hopefully we never get to the point where we need to quit because something awful happens.
Hopefully not.
Like, let's just keep on our happy road. But I do still think we need a shakeup though, and I'm down for it. Like, throw it at me. I can handle it.
Yes.
All right, I think we're done.
I think we're done.
Yeah. So book 13, Soul Taken, finished in the book.
Still love it.
And still love it. So that's it. That's it for now. And we may or may not have more books in this series. We'll see how it goes. I'm sure we'll cover the rest, but it will be slow go from here. So no more binges.
I mean, maybe 5 years from now we can start over, but like, not anytime soon.
Yeah, exactly. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you are a Mercy Thompson fan, please leave us comments somewhere, or even share the playlist. There are going to be playlists available on Spotify and other places, on YouTube. Follow and share the playlist with other Mercy fans, because we always want to talk about Mercy, and I know they do too.
Yeah, it's the best.
All right, so I think we're finished.
I think it's
been a blast.
Yes, it has been amazing.
Yes, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Take care of yourselves. Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.
If you enjoyed today's episode and would like to show your support, there are a few things you can do. Head on over to Apple Podcasts and leave a positive 5-star review, or like this episode on your favorite podcast player. It seems so simple, but it really helps me out. You can share this podcast with other book nerd friends or on your favorite social media space. You can also join the Shelf Addiction Patreon family. For as little as $2 a month, you will help us produce even more awesome content for your ears. You can also consider joining the Shelf Addiction Official Facebook group, where we talk all things bookish and more in a safe space. The Shelf Addiction Podcast is a part of the Nerdy Maven Network. You can also reach us via email at info@shelfaddiction.com. Thank you for listening.